All right, guys, top of the morning. Happy August 8th, coming to you alive, coming to you well. I got to go to the Garden of the Gods yesterday. I was literally in Colorado Springs for less than 24 hours, went out there, did my thing, did a workshop for an amazing group of people. And then they took me on a quick tour of this Garden of the Gods. And it's right at the base of the Rockies, these beautiful rock formations. And I just had a moment. I just reflected and I said, man, I'm really, really grateful to be in this position right now. Like I get to do these things that I'm doing. I get to be here with you, get to lead one of the most iconic brands in the history of real estate. And now I get to also go and help other people build their iconic brands. You guys, I'm just really, really grateful. And I'm also grateful that today we're gonna go up to the Russian River. We are kayaking down the Russian River tomorrow. We start at 9:30. We're gonna take our time. We got all of our stuff and our snacks and our picnic stuff. Silas says we're going on one last holiday because they start school next week. And so really, really excited about where we are. And we're going to talk about going back to school in just a quick second. But before we get this show on the road, before we get rolling, we always have somebody bring us out on the field in true keep it moving fashion. And so that person is going to be Brandy. She is center screen. The house looks good. I love it. There's usually kids running around, multiple kids, but she's got some time for herself. So Brandy, I'm gonna go over to you. Have you bring us out on the field on this amazing, beautiful Friday morning. So all the pressure in the world, let's roll.
No pressure, no pressure. It is Friday. It is the start of the freaking weekend. We get to set the tone. Don't care what anybody thinks, says. Be yourself. Be consistent. Be disciplined. Lead with love. And I mean, it's gonna be great. I mean, August is here. It's summer. And fun fact, guys, August is the only month that doesn't have a holiday. So that's why us Leos, we're in Leo season right now. Okay. So yeah, we own the month. August is the month that you get to take full advantage, prep for all those holidays. Start now, prep for all the holidays, prep for the new year, get it going, enjoy the last little bit of the sun. And that's that. Kids are back in school. I'm rocking and rolling, baby. That's nuts that I'm traveling to 3 schools and sitting in pickup lines for 2 hours, but we're good.
You know what? Hey, Brandy, you're an inspiration to us all. We look at you like, how do you do it all? 5 kids, doing it solo. Mad respect to you. And yeah, Brandy said it. I think Mercury's in microwave right now. So whatever that means. Mercury is in microwave. And hopefully you guys feel aligned with the universe and the energy of what's happening. Remember, Mercury is a microwave. You might want to write that down. It's probably going to be the most powerful thing that you take from today's session. Mercury is in microwave. Okay, write that in your journal and we're going to go ahead and get rolling. So you guys, school's back in session. For most of us, school's back in session. My kids go back to school next week. So you have, as a parent, and forgive me if you are not a parent, you have no more excuses. Okay, I'm just gonna keep it real. You're either going to say, you know what? Yeah, I took some time. I had to do some things with the kids. My schedule was all over the place. Cool, well, now the kids are back in school. You're either gonna find another excuse not to step forward in your business. You're going to replace well, my kids were home. Well, now the kids are at school. You're gonna replace it with another excuse, or you're gonna find a way, my friends. You're gonna find a way. I'm like you. I'm busy. I have a significant other. I have a business. I have children. I have Silas here right now. But you're going to either find a way to figure everything out despite, or you're going to say, oh, there's another excuse. I'm going to take that one this time. The fuck? Right? Are you going to truly, truly say, you know what? At the end of the day, I have no reason just to not move forward. Or are you going to hang on to another excuse? The choice is yours, my friends. The choice is yours. Kids are back in school. Focus on your business. Before you know it, December 31st will be here. You're either going to look in the rear view of this last year and say, you know, I am proud. I'm proud of everything that I've accomplished, who I've become, the trials, the tribulations, the adversity that I was able to fight through. No matter what the market was doing, no matter what the economy was doing, no matter who was in office, I won personally, professionally, mentally, spiritually. I did the work. I'm excited about who I am, who I'm becoming. I'm ready to take on 2026, right? 2026 is not going to represent new year, new me. This is a continuation of the lifestyle that you have built for yourself. It is a continuation of the habits that you have built for yourself. And if you constantly come to these sessions and you're not taking action and you're not moving forward and you're not making big steps in life, business, health, and relationships, then I, my friends, am letting you down. I am letting you down. If you guys are not leaving these sessions inspired and motivated, past that, inspired and motivated to go and take action and move in your life and business, health, and relationships, then I'm letting you down. And if you need additional support, please let your boy know, because I'm here for you and I'm willing to make adjustments and willing to be nimble enough to make changes where necessary. But all I want to see is your growth. At the end of everything that I do, your growth is the most important thing to me. But I'm not going to push you to grow if I'm not growing myself, if I'm not willing to do the work, if I'm not being able to, or if I'm not able to be reflective myself, introspective, do the deep work, do the deep reflection. How could I expect you guys to do that? You see, I wasn't always this person that I am today. I created this person, I did the deep work, and I want that for you guys. So you're either gonna hang on to another excuse or you're gonna get yourself in motion. December 31st will be here in no time. You have all these things to start preparing for your marketing, like Brandy was stating. You have the fall season right around the corner. Pumpkin spice latte, if you're that person, be that person. You have the month of thankfulness for November. Then you have Christmas. Then you have New Year's. You have all of these things to start preparing. So when you think about a rock in your business, in operational efficiency, each of you should look at the next couple months and say, okay, here's all of the different things that are happening from holidays, a very human experience that I can reach out to my consumers and potential consumers, and then start creating a marketing plan. Okay, I'm gonna need flyers by this date. I'm gonna need Popeyes by this date. I'm gonna need an email campaign by this date. I'm gonna create these videos by this date, right? The last thing I want you to do is to get into December and then you miss the opportunity in November to be thankful for all the people in your life. You didn't send the one-on-one videos. You didn't send private messages. You didn't send out the postcards to the people that you love. You didn't do any of that because you forgot to plan, right? Look at the next few months and say, what type of plan can I put in place to give me more visibility, touch more people, impact more lives, and walk into 2026 with some bravado, with some swag, and with some momentum. Does that make sense, everybody? Give me a thumbs up, give me a high five, give me an emoji on the screen. Cool. Before we get rolling, I got some thoughts. I got some things prepared for everybody today. But I wanted to ask, if you were on the call on Wednesday with my good friend Brian, I wanted to understand if you guys had any thoughts and takeaways from our time on Wednesday. I know a few of you were on that call, but I'd love to hear from you guys before we get rolling today. If you had any thoughts, takeaways, insights, or aha moments from our Wednesday session. And please don't be shy. Throw your hand up. We'd love to get you guys' contributions. I have one person. I got two people. Give me one more. Give me one more. Give me one more. There we go. Let's go, Evangeline. What do we got?
I really liked I forgot what he called it, but almost like an echo chamber kind of thing, like using that same language, because I think it does two things. Not only does it show that you're listening, so you're kind of being a little bit of a mockingbird there, but it shows active listening, but then also it kind of meets them where they're at. And they actually trained us in this in tech sales on the phones, right? Is like if someone's a little bit like hello, guarded, maybe you want to not be the most like bubbly person ever. I mean, people have thoughts on it, right? But like, I don't know, this was just my training and I think I liked it versus like someone will answers the phone, oh, hello. It's like, well, hello. You're going to kind of mimic their energy. So I thought I saw the parallels in that. And I thought that was valuable, but especially specifically in the words. Like, I like how I was trained for that in a previous life, but no one ever said to use the same words and jargon, you know?
You know, I'm gonna challenge you, Evangeline. I want you to put together a 20-minute keynote that you're gonna do here on Keep It Moving, and I want you to call it the echo chamber. I think I really, really like this. I want you to put together some training. I think that if you're open to it, I'd love to have you just speak about the echo chamber. I'm already looking at the slides. I can see the slides in my mind, but let's do something called the echo chamber, and we'll riff off of that. I think that there's something with your background. You know, you and I have a similar background when it comes to sales. Let's do something like that. The echo chamber. I love that title. Are you with me? Perfect. Perfect. Let's go Gary Archer, and then we'll go over to Alex. Gary Archer's key thoughts, takeaways from our session on Wednesday, because we're going to build off of that conversation today.
I want to echo what was just said. One, to repeat the language with the energy, but I thought some of the biggest thing wasn't even said. It was the sediment. It was the way he sectioned and explained it. Basically saying during when you're with the client, quit assuming where they're going. Quit assuming their next thought. Quit be slower. Be slower in the conversation, which allows you to echo what they said. Right. It's sometimes in this real estate game, we know what's next. You know, like lights. Okay, here's what we do next. Right. So these are the steps. But before you say here's what we do next, please get to that step, so they don't feel like you're 3 steps ahead of them and it feels like you're selling them something. This shouldn't feel like a sales meeting when you meet with someone. It should feel like a counseling meeting. It should be more mental than salesy, right? So that's kind of what I got from it. He said, don't get caught up in the result. You know, fall in love with the moment. That's what I try to do, is fall in love with the moment.
Mm. Gary, I'm so glad that you said this. This is an emotional experience. Whether or not you feel that you are high level EQ, emotional intelligence, this is an emotional sale no matter what. For a lot of us, this is obviously a process. It's a transaction, but there's so much that's going on. And what we don't realize and don't understand, don't speak about enough, is that what's underneath their words. You know, oftentimes I can sit here with my wife and we can have a conversation, and sometimes she just wants me to listen and not say anything. Right. And when you create that experience for someone just to share and to open up, tell me a little bit more. I'm curious. What do you mean by that? How long have you been feeling that way? What it creates is it creates intimacy, and it can create intimacy in business. And what happens is that trust is a active experience, right? People feel that. You guys all know, you all have an intuition on how you trust somebody and when you trust somebody. And when you are seen, heard, and felt is when true trust is built. And you guys know how that feels. And the consumers are no different, right? Yeah, we might be deep in this world of EQ and psychological work and emotional work, but at the end of the day, they're no different than you. And so we have to make sure to slow everything down. I'm actually, Gary, so glad that you talked about this. I'm going to take you guys through some additional framework to build off of that conversation from Wednesday. So buckle up, you guys, because we're about to get into all that. Alex, what do you got for us, big dog?
All right, there's two big things from this past week that he really applied to me, and it was kind of nice to really take a look in the mirror on myself and realize that I'm missing steps. One was the mirroring. It makes it so I absorb what the client really desires. Like, yes, I can upsell the next step, but if they're not ready for the next step, I'm moving too fast with them. And the second one is to lock in a give and take relationship. I'm giving you this market report. I'm giving you this the CMA. I'm giving you your CMA after that, but I'm not locking in the appointments. And and I'm realizing that I'm not listening, because like for the buyer, they said they want to sell their house first, and it's like, okay, I'm going to get in on this listing, and I was moving so fast on trying to line up both. I was moving too fast for them. They ended up listing with somebody else, and that hit. It was like, okay, cool. Like, I'm new, I understand, but I'm not locking in that second appointment to establish those relationships with the CMA to really lock myself in with the client in the long term. So it's the mirroring. I got to lock in what they're saying, be at their level, not move too fast for them to be able to keep up, and then to engage in have a matching relationship with them when it comes to you give me this, okay, can we schedule an appointment for Friday to go over this? I have to make sure I lock in the give and take relationship.
Good stuff. I appreciate your takeaways. So good stuff, you guys. So I prepared some stuff. I went into my library and I found the book, and I encourage you guys once again to get the book, Just Listen. I'm bringing up some stuff on the screen here today. And so, you know, obviously when I'm traveling, it gives me some time to relax and to process. And obviously you got to sleep sometimes on the plane, because it's just, I don't know, it's like a big baby. It just puts me to sleep instantly. But I want you guys to take a second to go through this framework with me. Feel free to take some pictures, take some notes, and this is going to apply directly with what we've been speaking. I feel that one presentation is not enough, because we talk about this, but you're going to hear it from different people. It's like the fun uncle comes in town, says the same thing that I've been saying, and so on and so forth. And so I want you guys to think about, how do you listen so deeply that they feel seen? And this is your consumers, but also think about your relationships. When you talk to people that have been married for so many years, 20 plus years, and you ask them, what's the key to your success? What's the key to the longevity in your marriage? What do most people say? What do most people say? Go ahead and take yourself off mute or throw it in the chat. What do most people say the answer is to an effective relationship that has lasted for so long?
Communication.
Communication. And does that always mean that, Ashley, that you're doing all the talking or he's doing all the talking? Does it mean sometimes that somebody is just listening?
Yeah, sometimes you're listening, sometimes you're talking. As long as it's me and you versus the problem, then you're winning.
100%. You see, my wife sometimes, she'll tell me, well, don't coach me in this moment. Like, I don't need your advice. I just need you to listen. And sort of made me really reflect on our conversation the other day. When you are talking to a consumer, I want you to ask yourself, are you listening to reply, like Gary was saying? Are you listening to receive? And I thought this was a really powerful way to look at this and to really frame this in a continuation of what we've been talking about over the last couple days and couple weeks. Are you listening to reply, or are you listening to receive? You see, in that moment right there, it is a very, very conscious moment that is happening. The listening to reply is like, I'm waiting. Right? You guys are all quick-witted. I always look at realtors, and what we train on is that you guys are Wu-Tang. You guys are swordsmith with your tongue. That's how I look at it, right? You guys should be able to flow, communicate at the high level, be able to articulate certain processes, flows, all these things. You guys are wordsmith. You are Wu-Tang. But are we listening to reply? Or are we listening to receive the information? You see, I know Gary has quick-witted words. I know that Ashley can spit some fire. I know that Evangeline, I know Christina has some really good things to say. However, are you truly, truly listening to receive the information? Right? When your husband or your significant other is speaking to you, if you instantly respond back, what are they going to say? Are you even listening? How many of you have ever had that type of conversation before with somebody important to you? Raise your hand. And gentlemen, raise that fucking hand up high. Right? Are you even listening to me? Because what that person feels is that you're not in the pocket with them. You're not in the moment with them. And imagine if the closest person in your life could feel that from you, what are strangers going to feel from you? Are they feeling that same experience from you? So are you listening to reply, or are you listening to receive the information? Are you being reactive versus doing receptive listening, right? The receptive listening is, I'm here to receive the information and then respond accordingly based on what you said, not what I said. Silence builds trust. You see, anytime that you're in communication with somebody, we always want to fill the void, right? I think that there's a need to want to fill the void of space between one person speaking and the next person speaking. We always tend to want to fill the void. And what do we fill it with? We fill it with words. And oftentimes, if you're newer in the business, you feel like you need to fill that void with words. Why? Because you are nervous. And you feel that the only way for me to get over my nerves is to fill this white space with words. Well, my friends, silence builds trust. When you can just shut the fuck up and allow somebody to say something and not pounce, process, receive, slow down. And even if it's just a little awkward and you're sitting there, it's kind of like, and you're not saying a word, that silence builds trust. It builds trust. Give me a thumbs up if you guys are with me so far. Give me a thumbs up, give me hands up. Okay, cool. Here's what I want you guys to practice. As you're communicating with consumers, also consumer or communicating with, say, your lender, I want you to practice the pause and breathe method. Wait 2 to 3 seconds before responding to allow the consumer to feel that their words landed. And it takes practice and it takes time. But the moment that you slow down, like Gary was speaking about earlier, then what you're doing is you're creating business intimacy and you're creating proximity and eventually leading to trust. Let's keep cruising, you guys. Tell me more. Okay, I love this. I've always been in the habit, and I learned this about 15 years ago, of tell me more. What does that mean to you? I want you to elaborate, go layers deeper. I remember in sales, they taught us going to the third level. First level was just surface level. Second layer is like, okay, you're getting a little bit deeper, but third level is where I could provoke emotion. That's where I can get, I used to have this guy I work with, old school Italian guy. He's like, Elias, you need to get to their bones. And like when he first started telling me that, I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, you need to go layers deeper with your questions. You're scraping the surface. You need to go get to their bones. And I'll never forget Sergio telling me that. So tell me more. These are the magic words, you guys. Tell me more. Tell me more is a bridge from surface to depth. And that's why I call this the third level. The third level is being able to get somebody to the emotional reasons why they want to move forward, buy, sell, whatever that is. This creates psychological safety. It keeps the focus on them and not you. Remember what our guest said the other day. Fuck your agenda. This is not about your agenda. This is about their agenda. And what we often do, because we don't listen intently, because we make it about ourselves, they feel that. And you want to know why our consumer rating is so low in the United States of America? Realtors are rated less than 12% for overall consumer rating in the United States of America. Why? Because there is a lack of trust in what you do. There's a lack of trust in what you do. Why? Because we have not built that. We have not connected with them. We have not slowed down. They think it's about our agenda. And then they tell us and they say things like, oh, realtors make too much money. What do they even actually do? If that ever comes out of a consumer's mouth, that's not their fault. That is your fault, my friend. It is your fault because somewhere in the process, they did not feel that connection. You didn't listen. They didn't feel heard. They did not feel seen. So build connection that converts. That type of energy, when you guys are sitting there listening, that's the type of connection that is going to convert. Tell me more. What's behind that? When you say that you're fearful about that, what's got you feeling that way? Elaborate. Tell me more. When you say X, Mr. Consumer, what does that mean for you? Right? I want you to be able to say, I'm going to ask more questions than I would normally. The more questions I ask, there's a good question, there's a better question, and then there's the best question that you can ask. The best question allows you to get deeper with your consumers. And when you are there, I call that the turn. The turn is when somebody is fully in rapport with you. They're connecting, they're sharing, they're opening up, they're telling you about their fears, their thoughts, their worries, their emotions. If you get there with a consumer, you have won. You have won because you have created a space, because you have asked the right questions, you have received that information at a very high level, and now they are bonding. They're bonding with you, and you guys can feel that. I'm gonna pause for a quick second, get any hands that are up right now. I do see Gary's hands up. Let's roll, big dog. What do you got for us?
Man, as you were saying, I was almost lost my train of thought. So as we're going through it, right? I think a lot of the real estate people, right? Like what we're talking about today is a great technique, even on an objection. We're so quick to have an objection. We're pounce on it. Instead of repeating their objection. Oh, you're scared in the market right now. What causes you to do that? The same. We're so fast to ask them questions about their objection, but not their positive impact, which is going to take a total 180 flip on our relationship. If all we're focused is on the negative with them, they're going to feel that. And so, like you said, sometimes they don't want to be coached through the problem. They want us to champion their idea, champion their belief, champion their dream. Not, oh, the market, and then explain why the market's good. No, let's sell the vacation. Let's not sell the trip. Quit selling. We got to pack our bags, get to the airport early, check in, get to the thing. No, sell the vacation on the beach. Make sure they tell you where they want to go, why you want to go there. Then you tell them how easy it's going to be there to get there. Yeah, there's going to be some hurdles, but that dream is worth it. If we don't have the dream attached to it, the journey's not even worth it.
Good stuff, Gary. Good stuff. You guys, through this process, and I'm sure you guys are saying, you know what? There's probably some things I could do differently. Here's what I want you to do, is I want you to think about obsessing over the human experience. And I'm going to say this until I'm blue in the face. Obsessing about the human experience. Well, when we think about our process from the phone call to the post phone call, to our use of video communication, written communication, our showings, buyer consultation, listing presentation, review of material facts, escrow process. When we think about all of those parts of our transaction and our process, where does your presentation currently need punctuation? Where could I elevate my presentation? And we're going to start just rudimentary. How do I ask better questions? How do I discover more from my people? How do I share that back to them, making sure that they understood, that I understood what they were saying to me? Gary, you said this, it was important to you. I just want to make sure that I heard you correctly and I didn't miss anything. I tell you what, that style of framework allows people to say like, damn, thank you, Gary. Yeah, that was spot on. Spot on. Well, you're not going to be spot on if you're fucking thinking about the next thing that you're going to say. You're going to be spot on because while they're speaking, you are right there in the pocket. You are right there in the moment. You are locked in with what they're saying. How many of you have ever been on a phone call with a consumer and they're talking and you got fucking Instagram open? Happens all the time. You're like talking and they're like, yep. And you're like, and you see something. It fucking happens all the time. It's like about locking in. Ashley, what do you got for us?
Just what Gary was saying was reminding me of Wednesday when he was saying, let them take you down the path. And it reminds me, every single sales job I've ever had has had the same message: meet and make a connection, ask questions, peel the onion, get deeper, understand, let them take you down the path everywhere. I was selling security systems, I was working at Macy's, I was working at the bank here. It's all the same formula. Follow the client down their own path. And then when you get permission, because you've built so much rapport and you've used active listening skills and match talk, and now you really understand, only then do you have permission to give advice and then inspire and then close and follow up. But you're not allowed to. It brings me back to the bank when I would coach the bankers, and every single time, no matter how many times we told them, a client would sit down, they'd solve the problem because they want to sell something. And I'm like, you're skipping. You're never going to be successful and really make a difference for this client if you're skipping the meat of this. You really have to get to know your client. And that takes time. There's no fast track to that. It takes time. You got to put in the work to really listen and get to know your client before you even have permission to give advice.
Yeah, you don't have the right. And then you go too early for the close. Like this is a science, you guys. You know, I've been in sales my entire career. So when it comes to being able to ask the right questions in the right sequence to understand a consumer, I have to do that in coaching with you guys. When we're on one-on-one coaching, I have to ask the right questions that are going to give me the information that I need to know, but also being able to see what is behind the words. And we're going to get into that in a second. But Christina, you threw your hand up. Let's go. What do you got for us?
Hi guys. I have to say that pause is huge because I think we all get into this where you're talking to a client and you're going over, like, especially as lenders, sometimes you can almost feel if you're starting to lose the client. And if you're kind of talking, you're going through the process and it's very overwhelming. So I'll catch myself where I'll pause and then it almost makes that awkward moment for that client to come back and say something. Because I purposely pause. I want to hear their feedback. Like, are they excited? Did I just confuse them the last minute of me talking? And then you can know which direction to take that conversation. Do I need to speak slower? Do I need to explain this maybe again and a little more simplified? So like, however that client responds, you can then in that pause know how you're going to take the conversation next. So I'd say that's huge because it's so hard for me to even do that. And I know I've said before, sometimes I'll do this to stop myself. I'll put my hand over my mouth. It's like, no, stop. Because maybe that's, this client has never spoken to a lender in their life, but maybe this is my third consult of the day. And I'm kind of on autopilot. I'm checking my emails. I have a client texting me and easily we get on that autopilot. And this poor client, you don't want them to suffer that.
Yeah, God, really, really good stuff. I have a buddy, his name's Pete, and we call him Long Pause because he takes these long pauses and then tells you what he's going to say. And you guys, it's such a powerful thing to just have purposeful pauses where you're silent for a minute so you can process, right? Because the consumer feels this, right? They can feel it. And so these are small nuances, but you guys, what works in business is nuances. From every single thing that we do, evaluate your nuances. Like, for example, you pull up to a listing appointment. Like, when you pull up in front of the house, how do you get out of the car? What side is your briefcase on? How do you get out of the car? Are you fumbling through paperwork? Nuances are everything. And they're the subtle nuances that make the biggest difference throughout the transaction. Brandy Alfonso, what do you got for us, big dog? Let's roll.
This whole wraparound conversation. I love the pause. I admire people that can pause like that. Like, I'm just like, what are you thinking? I want to be in your brain right now. But anyways, it's reminding me of a conversation I had yesterday that I was speaking with somebody, and we're so quick to have the solution, and that pause is so important. Even if it's even longer than a pause, allow people to feel anxious, allow people to feel nervous. Those are all, just like we said, allow them to feel heard and seen. And we take anxiousness and nervousness, being scared, as a negative, and like we have to solve that problem. And we actually don't. Allow them to feel it, because otherwise we're just slapping a band-aid on it and taking them to the next step. When just like anything, like if you do therapy or any type of thing, let that sit for a second, let it burn, let it, let that feeling arise. Because then what happens? Then the healing happens. Then we go, okay, well, I'm anxious. And then if you let them finish and excited. And it just reminds me of a conversation I had with a client yesterday. We got into contract, and that's what he said. He goes, I'm anxious. And I paused because I knew there was something more. He goes, but I'm so excited.
Mm.
And I was like, good. I was like, both of those are great things. Like, don't invalidate that they're anxious and only like validate the excited part, because they both go hand in hand. I think that's so important to leave that with that, because our business is you-centric. Our business is about us, but really, when we're working with clients, it's not about us, because we're already at escrow. We already see that closing. We already know how to get them there. But now we need to be at the forefront of in them, allow it to be you-centric for them, and take them through that process, and remind ourselves to meet them where they're at. If they're a dreamer, they see it too. They're at the closing. They're already imagining, like me, I'm already imagining myself in my backyard having a pool party, and like they're already there. We either need to dial that back and say, okay, here's the steps to get there, or they're like, I want to be a homeowner, but what do I even do? And then we go, all right, that's where I can, like, okay, let's go. So I think it's just so important.
Powerful, Brandy. You said something that reminded me of when I first went to therapy. So about 13 years ago, about 14 years ago, I OD'd on whiskey and anxiety pills and ended up going to the hospital, rushed to the hospital, had to have my stomach pumped and charcoal pills and all the thing. And I put myself through rehab, through an outpatient rehab program through Kaiser. And I remember at that time in my life, I was full of ego. I was headstrong. I didn't understand a life without alcohol. I just didn't know who I was, what I was going through, what I was masking. And I remember signing up for therapy, and it was part of the process. You had to do cognitive behavior classes, you had to do one-on-one therapy, then you had to do group therapy, and you had to do meditation, all these things that I was not about. At that time in my life, I felt like I was too good for that. I was macho. I was like, nah, I'm Italian. We don't talk about our fucking problems. No way, no how. And I remember sitting in the therapist's office the very first time I sat there. And I sit there, and she was younger. I was like, oh, I didn't picture the therapist to be younger. And I sat there, and she said, what led us to this day? And I was like, and like she said nothing else other than what led us to this day. And I just started thinking about it, and I started opening up. And then she would say, tell me more. Like, when did you start feeling that way? And it was literally like 3 to 5 questions. And then I look at the clock and it's an hour, and she hadn't said shit. Like she hadn't said, and I'm like, this, wait a minute. This is, I liked it. And I would go back and I was like, wow. And she would sit there and she would have her little thing and she would just ask a couple questions and allow me. But I think back at that time in my life, some of the most powerful moments in my life, when she said, you know, how did we get to this day? What does that mean to you? How did that make you feel? Why are we here? And it just really helped me think and do things differently. And so it was all rooted in her asking the right questions. So once again, you guys, tell me more. What's behind that? What's got you feeling that way? Elaborate. When you say X, what does that mean for you? Being able to go layers upon layers upon layers deep in the conversation. We talked about mirror and validate the other day, and I want to share this with you guys. What I hear you saying, Ashley, is this. What I hear you saying, right? Because by saying that, you're going to make sure that you really understand. They might be saying something, but it's not the exact message that they wanted you to receive. So sometimes we have to get to the real depth and the real meaning of what it is. It sounds like you are feeling A, B, and C. Restate concerns in your own words. Don't solve, reflect, and affirm. Let's continue cruising on. The unspoken need. Do you get me? You see, in any type of communication, the receiving end wants to know, does that person get you? Just like in a successful marriage that is rooted in really positive and powerful communication. Does your wife feel that you get them? Does your husband feel like you get them? Because when you do, then that's when you create even more bond, even more proximity, when you create more intimacy, the unspoken need. Consumers aren't always looking for the right answer, right? They're looking for the right feeling, the feeling of being understood. What buyers and sellers want more. They get you, that we get them, that we hear them, and that we see them. Trust, God, I love this line. Trust is a felt experience. You guys all have your intuition, right? Your intuition does not lie to you. Trust is a felt experience. Just like us, we feel that in our dating life, in our personal life. The consumers are feeling that with you. They're going on a date with you. They're trying to see, do I like this person? Do I trust this person? Can I trust this person with the biggest financial decision of my entire life? Trust is a felt experience. And if you take the time to evaluate how you're building the trust, how you're asking questions, how you're slowing down, how you're listening, how you're processing before you just rapid fire response, you're going to help them create a better experience, because trust is a felt experience. The deal moves when the emotion moves. The deal moves when the emotions move. At the end of the day, you guys, so much of this is rooted in our EQ, being able to understand our emotional intelligence at the very high level. And also understanding that they are going through something that they might not say to you. They might not say it, but there's a lot. And here's what I want you guys to think about right now. What unspoken need might your last buyer or seller have been communicating underneath their words? And I want you guys to sit with that for a moment. Maybe they said something, and when you reflect back, you never said anything about it. Maybe it came out later, maybe it never came out. But what was an unspoken need that your buyer or seller had been communicating underneath their words? We've all been in communication before with somebody, and there was more behind what they were actually saying. There was more feeling, there was more depth, there was more substance, and maybe we didn't go there. What I want to encourage you guys to do is I want you to first off look back, and then secondly, I want to encourage you to go there. Go there and be able to have those conversations with people, understand what they're going through, right? I had a girl earlier on a call with me, and as she opened up the call, she had stated very quickly that she built this wall for their media room. She's like, yeah, my dad died at a young age, and he taught us girls how to be carpenters to build because, you know, he wanted to make us strong. And like, just knowing that, I was able to know, like, man, this girl is an independent, strong, bold woman. She could be independent in her relationship, but still be in a very, very, loving relationship. She has these strong moral values. She is, she's like a hardworking woman. Nobody's coming to save me. And she literally said just a couple small things, but I was able to hear that. And it resonated with me because I just listened to her words about her father. So what unspoken need might your last buyer or seller have been communicating underneath their words? And I want you to reflect on that. And I want you to flip the script. And here's my challenge for you guys for this next week. I want you to flip the script, and this is going to be the listening challenge. See that pause? So here's what I want you guys to do in your next 3 consultations or calls. I want you to follow this process. Number 1, I want you to ask 2 times more questions than usual. Go a layer deeper. Tell me a little bit more. When you say that, Tom, what does that mean to you? When you say that you're fearful about the market, tell me a little bit more. What do you know about the market? What part of the market are you fearful about? What's got you putting your plans on hold? What challenges are you facing in the market that's got you putting your plans on hold? Tell me more, elaborate, right? I want you guys to be able to ask layers and layers and layers. And I always like to preface this, Tom, through our time, I'm going to ask a lot of questions because I just really want to make sure that I understand you guys so I could serve you at the highest level. Right? Like, let them know that like you're here to listen and ask a lot of questions just so you understand, so you can furthermore better serve them. Pause before responding. Pause. Try this at home first off. Try this with your significant. Pause. Your wife doesn't want you to have something witty to say right away. My wife gets pissed off when I do that. Pause for a second. Find out what's really behind the messaging. Reflect back what they said before giving your thoughts. Just reflect. I want you guys to process what they're saying and reflect. Use phrase words like, it sounds like, what's most important to you is. Did I hear you correctly? Did I miss anything, Tom? Is there anything else that we need to, that I need to be aware of before we move forward? Wonderful. Because if you don't address these things, and if you're not aware of all the things that are important to them or on their mind, on their emotions, on their heart, then if we move forward, what happens is that we can run into an opportunity, or we could run into a challenge where they say, I want to pull out. I don't want to move forward. I want to cancel the contract. I'm scared. Because if that's the case, then there was a lot of things that needed to happen in a couple stages before that we didn't talk about. We didn't talk about those things. So you guys, as we're having this communication, what I want you to do is I want you to think about obsessing over your consumer's experience, obsess over the human experience. And when you look at your presentation, like stated earlier, think about, where can I elevate my presentation? Where does it need punctuation? What could I do differently to connect? Right? And if you're the person on this call that maybe doesn't ask those questions now, it's okay. If you're not that high level emotional acuity, it's okay. This is a learning process. This is why we go to coaching. At the end of the day, it is something that we all can learn. We can refine. It's a science. And now, once you do it consciously, subconsciously, it just shows up in your conversations. Elaborate. Tell me a little bit more, Brandy. When you said that was important for you and your 5 kids, tell me exactly what that means for you guys. When you say security, security looks different for everybody. What does security look like for you and your family? And what does that mean for you guys? And was there a time where you guys didn't have security? What does that mean for you guys? Tell me more. Tell me more. And when somebody can talk about themselves and they can open up and they can share and you get them and you can restate what they said, you guys, that is bond and that is trust. I'm going to pause for a second. I'm going to get some thoughts and feedback from you guys. This was heavy on my mind. I wanted to make sure to give this information to you at a high level. So I'm going to go around the room. Brandy would cry. But I think about this. Somebody told me yesterday, they're like, you make people cry. And I'm like, I don't mean to make people cry. I feel like I just asked really good questions to make you think about yourself. And in turn, I make people cry. Not because I'm trying to make you cry, it's because I feel like I ask good questions that provoke thought and emotion. I'm going to go around the room, get a couple key thoughts and takeaways. Lisa, let's go to you. Princess, I'm going to go to you. Then we'll go up to, I'll just keep cruising. Yeah, Lisa Torres. Yes, you're Princess. You will be on deck.
I loved Wednesday's session and this one, bringing it home. I'm thinking about a couple clients that I've worked with recently. Some, I had the amazing connection, and I feel like this last couple months, I have been overwhelmed and I've missed the mark with others. And so I know that like I didn't go deep enough with the conversation. So, I almost started to write a contract for one client and it was just too much, too overwhelming. And I realized like I really needed to slow things down more. And find out her whys like deeper than surface level. And so just trying to circle back with her. But I love this last week has been amazing. Thank you.
Well, you know what? I appreciate you guys. I'm looking at everything holistically, right? Listen, I know I can help you sell a shit ton of real estate. I know I can, but I also can impact you as a human being, your emotion, your psyche. I can help you become a better listener. So it's like all these things are my hope is that they all come together. It's like the first Karate Kid. Like he's doing all this work. I'm fucking painting the fence and I'm sanding the floor and I'm fucking side by side. And he's just like, stop. Show me all these things real time. And I promise you, if you guys look back at the catalog of things that we have done here in group coaching, and I said, show me sand the floor, show me side to side, show me wax on, wax off. My hope is that you're like, oh shit, I fucking know this. God damn it, Elias, there it is, right? That's what I want for you. It comes out in conversations. Whoa, I just blocked that. How did I say that? Wait a minute. This shit is working. That's what I want for you guys. Show me fucking sand the floor. Show me side to side. Show me wax on, wax off. And when I think about the catalog, and I get excited talking about these things, when you think about the catalog of all the things that we've talked about here, and you stop, you say, damn, you know what, if I just, wait a minute, I am applying this. Wait a minute, it's working. Wait a minute, I'm growing. That's what I want for you guys. More than anything is I just want to see your growth. That's it. That's why I'm here on this earth. Princess, what do you got for us, big dog? Thoughts, takeaways? We're going to go to Chris next.
Mr. Miyagi, look, and I can say that for myself, just like thinking about the growth of like where I started to now and just coming to coaching, coming to talk to you, just all of that. And just there are times where like I thought, man, I don't think this is gonna work, or like, oh, like doubting myself, but it's like, no, take it, apply it, and it actually does work. You just have to believe in yourself, really. That's what it comes down to. But no, we are in a relationship business. And I think it's very important that we do dig a little bit deeper. I mean, our friends, our friendships, like, how do you think we've been able to sustain friendships for so long? Well, we dig deeper. We find out those things that are of our friends that, they may trigger, or things that about them that, you want to support them in. So I think with this business and the fact that it's a relationship based business, we have to do that with our clients, and it's super important. So yeah, asking those deep questions, not just wanting to pitch off to the next thing. We don't do that to our friends, so we have to do that same thing with our clients. And it's funny because clients literally do become family or friends, literally. So I think it's really important to dig into those and don't treat them as just people, or just clients. They're people.
That's right. We obsess over the human experience. And when you really think about that consumer experience from start to finish and you slow down, like, man, how could I really make this best for them? Like they'll feel it, you guys. And it will be like, wow, I've elevated my presentation. I've elevated the questions that I ask. I've elevated my buyer consultation, the way I do showings, the way I do listing presentations. You'll find ways to elevate, and you'll find where your presentation needs punctuation. Let's go, Chris B. Chris B, what do you got for us, big dog? Key thoughts, key takeaways from our time together today. Let's roll.
Yeah, communication is key. People long for connection, and they want to feel safe. And if you're not connecting and listening properly, especially experienced clients has been around the block a few times, they're more fluent, they'll cut you off if you're not listening. Like you need to really pay attention to their thoughts and mirror the way they carry themselves. And if you could do that, then you could close anybody really. It's just about connecting and listening more than speaking. I know when I first started off, I was kind of like a hyper agent, always trying to prove myself, blah, blah, blah. And then a lot of times I'll talk to a client afterwards, it would feel off, It took a while to gain that composure where you're really just like slowing down, listening, kind of getting where they're at. And then you automatically say the right things naturally. And you really got to pay attention. You can't, like you said, Elias, a lot of times people aren't really listening. They're trying to think of the comeback or how to handle objections, because everybody gets trained. How do you handle an objection? How do you handle objection? Also, all we hear handling objections, but it's not really about handling objections. It's about listening and organically responding at their same tone with their same frequency. You know what I
Mm,
mean? Not everybody's caught
yeah,
up on, oh, this is why you do this. This is why you do that. Let me lead the way. I'm the leader. Blah blah blah. This and that. You're gonna lose people. Like, you know what I
yeah.
mean? So you just really want to connect and come back at them properly, to a way they feel comfortable. Not even talking about yourself and your accolades and this and that, because that'll come. You know, once you connect and they see your heart and they see that they feel safe with you and they're confident and you're vibing with them, then everything else falls in place.
Mm. Love it. Love it. We're going to go, TT, you're going to be our last contribution for this takeaway, and then we're going to go to Tyrell. He was our guest. Just want to get one key thought from him as we wrap sesh. So, Tanisha, what do you got for us? Key thoughts, takeaways from our time together today?
For sure, listening. Wednesday's session and today's session definitely hit home. I had to fight back tears because I'm going through a lot of personal stuff. And, our clients are just like family, like everyone is saying. And all the drama that I'm going through with my family, I'm like, oh God, I need to really apply this to real estate instead of treating them like a client.
Mm.
Wednesday session really opened up a lot of things, matching the words. And today is just an asterisk, in my opinion. It's just like honing in and really focusing on that. You know, I'm going through a stupid divorce and I have to really listen to my ex-husband to kind of make the transition flow a little better instead of me being like, oh, I hate this motherfucker. I need to listen to get what we need in the family. So,
Right.
yeah, listening is huge. And that's my huge takeaway. I thought I was a good listener, but I need work.
Mm. Well, Tanisha, what I heard you say is that you're going through some emotional things, and as your coach, as somebody in your corner, if you need anything, well, I know we have a coaching session later today, so we'll talk more there. So
Yes.
I'm here
And
for you.
don't
I'm here
make me cry.
I can't make any. I can't make any promises. I can't make any promises. But listen, you guys, I just want to say thank you for being open to receive. Like, I feel that more conversations like this is what Keep It Moving is all about. This is a very human environment. Obviously, we talk about strategies, sales tactics, and things that are going to help you move forward in business. But at the end of the day, this is all about sharing our collective wisdom and becoming better human beings, right? And that's why we talk about so many different things, you guys, is because sales is not just a one singular style of conversation. There's so many things that go into it: the emotion, the psychology, the body language, the tone, the tempo, the flow, the word. There's so much. And so my hope is that, we do generalized training and generalized coaching, but obviously we'll drill down on some topics, but there's so much to learn. There's so much to apply. And my hope is that we always just get a little bit better every single time you come to a group coaching session. Let's go, Tyrell. Tyrell, let's get a thought from you, big dog. Thank you for being a guest of ours. Let's get one key thought from you.
Cool. Hello, everyone. I'm Tyrell Cooper. If you, I guess, weren't here earlier, I was invited here by Andrea. I met one of her friends, and I'm currently in the process of getting my real estate license. I wanted to kind of look forward to the future and try to find some type of mentorship team, that whole thing, and that's why I'm here. As
Good.
far as what I took today from today's meeting, um, I really enjoyed it and I agreed with everything that you guys have said. I've been in sales for a few years now, and when I was back in the car industry, there was a big focus at my dealership and paying attention to the fact that sales has shifted. It's not you can kind of just throw everything in the consumer's face and make them say yes and, congratulations type thing. It's figure out who they are, let them lead the sale. When we were talking earlier, the word that I wanted to throw out there is make sure you're collaborating and not selling. Um, and so I really agree with everything that you guys are saying, because that's one of my biggest beliefs in taking care of the customer. Everything else comes after that. That's when you get all the surprise accolades, surprise this and that. And I believe in that heavy, and that's why I think I'd be good for real estate. So I really enjoyed the meeting today.
Well, man, well spoken. I mean, you articulate yourself very, very well. I'm looking forward to being here as a support system for you as you grow and take this journey into the craziness. So, you guys, thank you for being here. Thank you for being present. Thank you for being in this moment, full stream of consciousness, being open to receive. You guys, always take the one thing from these sessions and say, how can I apply this in my life and business, health, and relationships? So you guys have an amazing day. If you need anything at all, let me know. Watch my stories this weekend because we are going on holiday and we are going to kayak down the Russian River. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Silas is excited. The girls are excited. So have an amazing day, you guys. And as always, keep it moving towards your dreams, goals, and vision and make today a day that truly matters. Peace.